Hello, Bronco fans and football fans alike. Welcome to Broncos Breakdown. This is April 5th, 2021. I am your host, Bronco Bill. All right, let's get started. I got quite a few things I need to bring to you guys in regards to many different topics. Obviously, we have the topics of the Denver Broncos. We have the topics of the Colorado Avalanche. We also have player topics involving Broncos and Houston Texans, and we're also have some Los Angeles Charger news and some Atlanta Falcon news. So let's get started. First off with, you know what? Let me jump into. Let me start out with the Deshaun Watson topic first. So Deshaun Watson, as everybody knows, is in hot water, and they're involving allegations of maybe sexual misconduct, harassment by masseuses that are he's invited over to his place for personal massages and things of that nature, and then it gets into more directed, I guess you could say, on his part for possible sexual advances and things of that nature. Well, now it's come out that the police department has said that they have begun their investigation into the allegations after receiving a formal complaint from one of the masseuses. Now, it started out with 6, it started out with 9, it went to 10, it's now up to 22. And it's not 22 collaborated, in other words, one case with 22 different people filing together jointly. No, it's 22 individual filings. So these different people are not necessarily in cahoots with each other because they're in different parts of the state, they're in different parts of the country, perhaps. They don't even work at the same place. So this is a very, very interesting situation, and it's evolving daily for sure, and almost minute by minute, and definitely hour by hour. But that's the latest on Deshaun Watson, is that the police department in Houston is now looking into the allegations that are now being filed. So they definitely are going to look into this. And what that does to his career is, obviously, it's in jeopardy. It puts the NFL commissioner into a very, very bad situation, because as this thing develops and these allegations develop, the NFL and the commissioner, Goodell, is now basically forced to do something. Obviously, they want to wait until the process, goes through the proper channels and the proper procedure. But at the same time, Roger Goodell is going to have to be forced to do something. And the reason for that is because each and every passing day gets closer and closer, not only to the draft, but also to trades, preseason, OTAs. Does Deshaun Watson participate in those OTAs? Is it going to be locked out, so to speak? Is it going to be on the commissioner's list as to not being able to, to participate in any of these the team activities? We don't know. I don't know that yet. Nobody knows that yet because it hasn't been revealed. But one thing is clear, and one thing is certain, is that Roger Goodell is going to have to deal with this. And this issue is not going to go away anytime soon. So if there was ever a trade for Deshaun Watson in the future and down the road, well, if I were a GM of a team, I would definitely steer as far away from this situation of trading for Watson as I possibly could. Because you just don't know if the guy's going to be able to play. That's the bottom line. You don't know if he's going to be in football ever after this situation. So I'll keep you informed on any other further details, but that's all I have now on the Deshaun Watson situation. Let's go to the Atlanta Falcons. This one's interesting. I just received this today, and the Atlanta Falcons are interested in trading their number 4 draft pick. Now, that's interesting because Atlanta Falcons, they could take a quarterback, but they have said, the owner has said that the Atlanta Falcons are very, very happy with their quarterback that they have right now, and Matt Ryan, and they don't feel that they need to draft a quarterback this year. Now, that all depends on what they are asking for in a trade. If they're asking for a team's number one this year, number one next year, maybe a number one and number two this year, maybe a couple players thrown in, okay, that's going to be a high price for the Broncos to jump from number 9 to number 4. Well, the team in front of them that also needs a quarterback is the Carolina Panthers. Well, the news just broke less than an hour ago that the Carolina Panthers have made a trade with the New York Jets for Sam Darnold. So Sam Darnold is now a quarterback, the quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. So the Jets now have made that trade, but the Jets did not trade their number one pick. Or exactly, I mean, excuse me, they kept their number one pick. They still have their first round pick, I should say. So they're going to get a quarterback. They also picked up Carolina's number 2 this year and their number 1, I believe, for next year. So that was a big price to pay that Carolina gave up, but they did get Sam Darnold. So they got their quarterback. That's good news for the Broncos, because if the Panthers have their quarterback in Sam Darnold, they're not going to necessarily be in a trade to move up above Denver, which is number 9, and take that Atlanta Falcons offer if it panned out as far as what Carolina was willing to give up for that number 4 pick. So that leaves the door open still for the Broncos. But the 49ers are also looking to maybe possibly move up. Even though they have Garoppolo, they could be considering moving up to get another quarterback to push Garoppolo, just like the Broncos want to get a quarterback to push Drew Lock. So there's a lot of little movements going on right now, but I would love to see, if the price is right, that is, for the Broncos to move up to number 4 and take Fields. I would really, really like that. I don't want Denver to mortgage the farm. I don't want them to sell out to move up to 4. But if, like I said, if the price is right and we don't give up too much, I would love to move up to number 4. That moves me to the situation with the Los Angeles Chargers. Excuse me, guys. Los Angeles Chargers, our own 39% controlling owner is Dean Spanos. Now, he's the controlling owner of the Chargers because the remaining 61% is divided up in so many different people that they do not control more than 39%. So the Spanoses control the Los Angeles Chargers and their movement. Dean Spanos' sister, Dee Barbarian, I believe it is, or Barbarian. I'm sorry if I pronounce it wrong, but I'm just going to call her Dee Spanos. She claims that the trust is in jeopardy. So she wants to go to the court, and she's seeking a court injunction or court help in forcing the Spanos family to sell the Chargers. Now, she claims, and I will read it verbatim because I don't want to misquote here as to what was said, but she claims that the controlling trust of which the Chargers have their interest in has debt in excess of $353 million, and that their financial future is very bleak. Now, Dean Spanos claims that his brothers are willing to buy her share out, thereby keeping control of the Chargers. But she wants the court to order the Chargers and Spanos family to sell. Now, this hasn't gone to court as of yet that I know of, and I live in the Southern California area, and I have not heard any of this in regards to how far it's gone other than what I just read you. So she's hoping that the court will order the Spanoses to sell the Chargers. However, if Dean and his brothers buy her out, then her will and her claim towards wanting to sell it and force the court to sell, or have the court force the Chargers ownership to sell, that's not going to happen if she's bought out. But that hasn't happened yet. That's just out there that she's wanting that to happen. Now, whether or not they're losing that much money, it's hard to say whether or not she's basing this on whatever she's basing it on, but she's claimed that they're losing millions and millions every year, even though they basically don't have to pay anything for the stadium, and they get revenue from their 8 home games in the Los Angeles area. So that remains to be seen. That's going to be very, very fluid. That would be very interesting should that happen, because will the Chargers stay in LA? Right now, I believe they have a lease that's, I believe it's in excess of 10 years, maybe 20 years. So that would be very, very interesting if the team was sold and somebody wanted to move them out of the LA market. It'd be very, very interesting to see if that would ever be done. Because I got a funny feeling that that the owner of the Rams, Stan Kroenke, would be very, very hard pressed to force the Chargers to stay there because of the lease. So that's a very, very ongoing situation and very interesting to say the least. Now let's go to some Bronco news. This is very interesting in relationship to Ronald Darby. Now, according to Bleacher Report reporter Alex Key, the addition of Ronald Darby is Denver's worst offseason move. And the reason he states that it's the worst Bronco offseason moves is for 2 reasons. One reason being the contract, which is 3 years in length, and the salary is $30 million. Now, that's $10 million a year, and he is a really, really good safety or corner. Excuse me, it's a very, very good corner. However, he goes on to say, and that's Alex K, goes on to say that Darby's been injury prone, and that George Payton, overpaid the safety. Overplayed the corner, to satisfy the Broncos' defensive woes of last year. Now, if that's the case, then, in my opinion, so be it. And the reason why I say so be it is, yes, maybe he was injury prone, in Philadelphia, and injury prone. Maybe it's because maybe there's their training staff. Maybe it's their head trainer doesn't have them trained correctly, or whatever it could be. But I feel that getting a solid corner in Darby, and then having the other guys that we have back there in Spencer, and I just feel that the Broncos have solidified their defensive backfield. They've definitely upgraded, and I really feel that bringing a guy like Darby in, even if it is at $30 million for 3 years, if he can stay healthy for at least 2 of the 3 seasons, then I think it's worth it. I really, really firmly believe it's worth it, because he is a proven player. Yeah, he has to stay healthy. I mean, all football players have to stay healthy. Think about it, guys. Every player is one play away from a devastating injury, or season-ending injury, or even a career-ending injury. That's just the nature of the game. But sometimes you have to take that chance. And I feel with Darby that the Broncos made a great choice in picking him up, even for $30 million for 3 years. I think it's a great deal. Now, let me move on to Colorado Avalanche news. And of course, yes, again, guys, I got the Avalanche jersey on and the hat. And I'm going to move to Jonas Johansson. He is the Colorado Avalanche backup goalie to Grubauer. Now, he had to play, he's played a couple of games for the Avalanche, and he had yet to win a game. Now, he came in and he played tremendously. Yes, he gave up a few goals to the Minnesota Wild, but not to Minnesota Wild, I'm sorry, to the St. Louis Blues. And but in the end, the Avalanche got the win. Now, I want to congratulate Johansson, because it was a huge win for the Avalanche. And well, not that any win is less important, but this was extremely important, because the Las Vegas Golden Knights had lost earlier in the day to the Minnesota Wild. And that meant that with Johansson's great goaltending and the Avalanche win, they were able to move into first place alone, leapfrog over the Knights, and gain that first place spot. Now, that's huge because he now has that monkey off his back as far as not being able to win. So the Avalanche now are going into a stretch of 4 games on the road. And they're going to be 2 games against the Minnesota Wild. The first one is tonight, beginning at 5 o'clock Pacific time, 8 o'clock East Coast time, being in Minnesota, East Coast time, 7 o'clock Minnesota, 6 o'clock Mountain time, 5 o'clock Pacific, against the Minnesota Wild. Then on Wednesday, they play the Wild again. Then on Friday, they play the Anaheim Ducks, and then again on Sunday. But here's the key, guys. All 4 of those games are on the road. And they're all 4 against teams that have played the Colorado Avalanche extremely well. Minnesota Wild is now on the upswing. They're playing much better hockey. They're playing much more physical hockey. And that's something that the Avalanche don't like to get into. The Avalanche do not like to play hard. They don't like to play rugged. I don't mean hard in the sense of not playing hard. I mean, they don't like to play rough. They don't like to bang it against the boards. They don't like to get into fights. They don't like to rough it up. They want to play a clean hockey game, but they want to play a fast, clean hockey game. But the Minnesota Wild have learned against the Avalanche, because they're not as fast, what they've learned is just to dump and chase. And by dumping and chasing, that frustrates the Avalanche. Extremely frustrates the Avalanche. But that's what they want to do. They want to get in the Avalanche's head, and they want to slow their speed down. So the games are going to be on the road. The fans are back in arenas now, guys. So it's not going to be that quiet arena that we've heard for the last year, and then, for the better part of the first half of this year. So there's going to be fans. It's going to be raucous. It's going to be noisy. But the Avalanche have to deal with it. And we have to take these 4 games, because the Golden Knights are on our heels, and the Minnesota Wild is in 3rd place, and they're right on our heels. Even though the Ducks are in last place or next to last place, they play the Avalanche extremely tight, and they have a physical team as well. So the Avalanche are on everybody's radar now. They can't fly under the radar anymore, guys. They are on everybody's radar. And they know it, and they need to keep their nose to the grindstone. Well, that takes me back to Johansson. Grubauer's not going to be able to play all 4 games. There's no way. They need to keep Grubauer healthy for the playoffs. So Johansson, I'm assuming, and this is just I haven't heard anything, but I would feel and almost bet that Johansson's going to play 1 game against Wild and possibly 1 game against the Ducks, all depending on how the games go. If the Avalanche are winning and staying on that winning streak, then I see Johansson playing at least 1 game in each one of those series. If the Avalanche are losing and they need to shut down the defense or the offense of the other team, then I see Grubauer possibly playing 3 of the 4. But I'm hoping that the Avalanche are on a winning streak, and they keep that winning going, and that Johansson gets in there, gets a feel for the flow of the game, and produces a great goaltending for the Avalanche, and they can go on and keep this lead that we have in the division. Okay, guys. Well, that wraps it up. That wraps it up for today's video. Thank you for watching, as always. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't, please do subscribe. I really appreciate it. And if you have any comments, questions, anything positive or negative, please leave a comment. I always read them, and I always respond to them. And I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. Enjoy your week. Enjoy your Avalanche game, and we'll talk to you on Friday. Take care. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.